Welcome back to Booze Bros and Cars, your favorite podcast about booze and cars, and we're your hosts. I'm Eric.
I'm Mike.
I'm Carmelo.
And I'm Nick.
All right, so first up, of course, we're going to be talking about the beers that we're going to be drinking today. So I've got a couple here lined up. The first one caught my attention mostly because of the name, so I just figured, screw it, I'm going to try it. But it's a beer from Duclaw. Duclaw is actually pretty good. I actually really enjoy their stuff. But this one is a sour that's called Sour Me Unicorn Farts. Saw the name and I was just like,
I've had that one before.
What? I've got to try it. So it's a ale brewed with fruity cereal milk. With fruity cereal and edible glitter. I don't see any edible glitter in this, so there's probably.
Oh, you will tomorrow.
I was gonna say you're gonna be looking at the toilet in the morning, like, "Ooh, is it sparkly?"
Possibly, but anyways, the name caught my attention. It's like 5.5%, so I'm like, you know what? It's a good starter beer because it's pretty light. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to actually trying it because I mean the name just caught my attention. And then the other one is
so now
a
the question
beer.
Tomorrow will be: is Eric's poop sparkly?
I mean,
bombs.
that's
If you want to know, just
where
put
my
it in the
head's at,
comment
too.
below, and I'll let you guys know.
I want to know. I'm intrigued. All right,
Like and
what's your
subscribe
second
for.
that's gonna be a really weird group chat we get in the morning.
one?
Yeah. Anyways,
Hey
so
guys, look at how sparkly it is.
exactly with the picture. The second beer is from Heavy Seas Beer, and it is Chocolate Volcano. So it's a chocolate dessert stout. Doesn't have much info on the label itself. I actually had to look it up online, and I'll read it off. So it is a 9% American Imperial Stout. Still doesn't give a lot of description. It just says that it's intense chocolate with hint of roasted coffee beans. So it sounds delicious. I'm looking forward to trying that out.
Sounds good.
I've never tried Heavy Seas beer before, so this is going to be my first beer I'm trying with them. So I'm actually pretty excited to drink that. Mike, what about you? What are you drinking tonight, bud?
So I'm having a day. I know I talked to you guys separately earlier today, but I'm having one. So I got a couple different beverage options this afternoon. I'm starting off with Basil Hayden again, like I did last time. The Dark Rye.
Nice.
It was delicious. So we're gonna get that in me just because I need it. The other thing that I'm trying, the Florida Flavor Lager. This is from Calusa Brewing out of Sarasota.
Nice.
My wife and I went up to Tampa, I don't know, a month ago or so, and we stopped by Calusa on our way back. Tried a couple different beers, so I got a 4-pack of this one. So I'm going to be doing that one, and then that's a 16-ounce can. And then if I can, once I put that one down, I plan on hitting up this Three Daughters Oktoberfest Marzen Lager. It's fall beer season, so obviously we've tried a couple pumpkin beers already. This Oktoberfest is upon us right now. It's actually happening in Germany as we speak in Munich. So I think this is a cool one to talk about. 5.1% alcohol. It's a nice margin, so it's on the sweeter side. So throw that one in the pot too. So
Nice.
Carmelo, what are you drinking?
So I'm excited. I got a collaboration. You guys know I like Drecker. So Drecker has Everybody Loves Everybody. It's a rainbow sherbet sour. But the best part is this is actually a collaboration between Drecker and the Brewing Project. And you guys know that's one of my favorite breweries of all time. And because we live so far away from Wisconsin, it's hard to get anything from them. So I was fortunate enough to snag this over at Tavor. I got a few of them. So I'll be starting with this, as you guys might already tell. I already did a little bit. And then also I got a smooge, a strawberry banana smoothie. Real simple, real light. I think they're both around 5-6%. Nothing too crazy. I got to work early in the morning, so something to have fun with. Nick, what do you got tonight?
It's fun. Just a note on that. It's really funny that you're drinking another, I know it's one of your favorites, but a Wisconsin beer, because I just had like a long conversation today with somebody at a bar about how we don't get anything cool from Wisconsin. We were specifically talking about cheese curds. and how our cheese curds down here in our area are just nowhere in comparison.
Mm-mm.
So just kind of funny. That's awesome.
Well, actually,
What
is
you
it
got?
Untitled Art from Wisconsin? What that's kind of one brewery that's from there, and you can.
Oh, are they?
I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, Untitled Art is from Wisconsin. Mike is gonna look it up right now.
Quick.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I should know that. I'm not going to lie to you, but
Wisconsin. Probably butchering that,
Yeah.
but
good call,
They're
Eric.
from Wisconsin. Yeah,
Good call.
And you can get their beer pretty. I've seen their beer a handful of times at Total Wine, but I've mostly seen it.
It's pretty regular down here.
Yeah.
But I
that's
see
one of the
more.
few breweries though.
Yeah, but I see more options of them at number 3 because I've seen that Brandon usually buys quite a bit of beer from Untitled Art because they carry some good stuff. So, anyways,
Nick, they're from one of the more niche distributors. So number 3 gets a lot of it. So Nick, what are you drinking tonight before we dive into too much?
So I've had a busy weekend of plenty of drinking. We were up in Tampa for the weekend, had a concert with Avenged and 5 Fall in Reverse. So I've kept it simple so far tonight. I'm actually, this is almost my third, I think. Southern Tier Pumpkin.
Nice.
Nice, easy. The keg's out in the kitchen, so just rolling with that. And just because I was feeling it, another one of my clear margaritas.
Nice.
That funky German or Belgian sour mixer that I talked about way back episodes ago. So keeping it simple. And if I run out of those, I'll probably text the wife and see if she'll toss me a can for the doorway. So
that's awesome.
We really gotta get you to kick that keg of pumpkin so you can move on to the next.
No, I need to order. Need to get that Warlock.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I had one on draft the other day. It's drinking really good this year.
I had some at number 3 as well this past weekend.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so not sure if any of the viewers are follow us on Instagram, but we were supposed to go up to Bradenton Motorsports Park. Actually, we did go to Bradenton Motorsports Park, and we were supposed to have some run day fun days, or they call it street heat, but we were supposed to have some fun runs. But Mother Nature kind of gave us a shaft and rained us out. So I was actually able to get a few runs in with my Corvette. Actually, Mike did some footage for me, so I'll actually post the clips right here so you guys can see my runs.
Hydrated, motivated, hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate, stay away.
As you guys saw, I got annihilated by a GTR. And I was kind of sort of door to door with 2 BMWs, but I found out that I may need to change my clutch. Because
Yeah. And it was a long drive from Fort Myers, so there was definitely a risk of, do I really want to send it and then not be able to drive back home an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes?
Yeah, well, I mean, I sent it for the first 3 runs, and then I kind of stopped.
Granted, that was roll racing. So that was roll racing. That was before the the dig racing started, the traditional drag racing, if you will.
Or it was supposed to.
There were some pretty good runs. So pretty tragic turn of events though with the rain rolling in. Our buddy Greg that we've talked about a couple of times, he went up there in his BMW X3M. Also got some runs in on the and I'll share those with Eric so that he can post them on here. But the whole purpose of this exercise was to get Nick and Greg to run and do a little duel of the SUVs. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we're gonna have to revisit that one. Nick got there a little bit too late.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
and then the rain rolled in and
there in time for running from a dig.
You were you were perfectly timed for when the dig racing started, but
the
rain,
in the rain,
man.
But we actually we did do something fun anyways, which was we just decided to end up going to Corporate Ladder, and actually enjoy some good stuff there. So we've talked about Corporate Ladder before, and I think we've all kind of drunk one of their beers on the podcast, but they have really good stuff. They had what is it called? The pumpkin a la mode. Oh my God, man. That was
pumpkin pie a la mode. Yeah. I haven't had that. I brought one of those.
Oh yeah. Carmel. You'd love it.
Dude, it was phenomenal.
And we all have a beer that I brought back from Corporate Ladder about a month ago. That next week we're going to feature that one on here, and it's going to get some attention. It's really cool. We all need to pour it into a glass for sure. The color of it's pretty wild.
Yeah, we're all probably. Well,
it was fun though.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get a little rowdy because I have like 3 of their smoothie beers. So I have the one that you got.
Nice.
And then I still have 2 other ones from Sebring, which is I think raspberry, and shoot, I can't remember what the other one is, but I have one other one. So I'm probably gonna drink all 3 other podcasts. So
you need to drink those, bro. If those are from Sebring, you probably need to get on those.
I'm probably gonna get lit next week, so I'm down. Screw it,
you guys lucked out. On the way back down from the bachelor party I went to, we stopped and they didn't open for another hour. So.
That's a bummer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, because I don't know if you guys posted photos. One of my buddies, one of my friends on Insta, posted some photos and included that pumpkin pie beer. And I was like, I need to get it. My wife is a very basic, and loves pumpkin spice everything, kind of like Nick. And so I was like, I got to pick this up for her. And they're like, oh, yeah, we don't open yet. We changed our hours. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the inside was cool because they just redid it, which I don't know if I can talk about as to why they redid the interior. Mike, do you recommend I kind of bring that up?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Okay.
Come on. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Here's the thing. Yeah. Go ahead, and I'll chime in for sure.
Okay. So before, which I kind of wish I had pictures of how it looked like before, but it was very much, it was like a very monotone interior. So everything was like white and gray and black and things like that. But they
looked like a basic office area.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Exactly. So like the inside, they had a bunch of stuff from The Office, like the show, The Office. So they had a cutout of Michael Scott. They had a cutout of Dwight. I think Jim was actually there. They may have had something with Pam, and they had
stuff on the walls.
And they had like stuff on the walls. And then like if you walk into the bathroom, they had like it was sayings from the actual Office, like from the show. I can't remember what one of them was, but it's usually like one of those like oh man, what was one of the sayings? I love The Office, but I'm like when I'm trying to talk about it right now, like I'm drawing
one of those zingers.
That it was like it was something that Michael Scott said, but it was like, of course, Michael Scott, like if you've watched The Office, like all of his sayings they're like kind of dumb and funny and stupid. So it was like something that he said, and then it said, Michael Scott. So apparently, from what I was told, and actually talking about them because we love going there, but Brandon from Number 3 was actually the one that told me about this, which was that the creators of The Office sent Corporate Ladder a cease and desist, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, yeah. So apparently they sent them a cease and desist because they had all these decorations from The Office, and they were a business, and
that they legally
lawfully bought. Like, I mean, I don't know. Jesus. Like, it's weird, but like, because I mean, I would understand if Corporate Ladder was actually making beers and naming them after things of The Office. As far as I saw, none of their beers were named after anything from The Office. Like they could have named this something funny and stupid, like what's Dwight Schrute. Like they could have made something about Dwight Schrute, like because Dwight Schrute's all into like Beats and
The
Battlestar
Beats.
Galactica
Yeah.
and like all this stuff. So like they could have done something like that, but they didn't. So it was literally just the inside of the brewery that had all these decorations from The Office. So, but the curators apparently sent them a cease and desist, and literally like within the last month, they shut down the brewery for like 5 or 6 days, and they literally just went ham and just redecorated everything, which it looks really good. It looks amazing, but that's what happened.
It's a lot cleaner, a little more color, a lot more orange
Yeah.
going on. But
it looks
so good. Let me tell you a little bit of something about the beer industry at cease and desist, right? There are a lot of, honestly, any brewery that's been around for more than 5 to 10 years has gotten cease and desist for just about anything. One of the main reasons for that is there's a lot of breweries that share names to beers, and like when you're hyper local, if you're only selling to a small footprint, a lot of people don't realize that those beers are sold, 1,000 miles away in another state. But if your beer gets popular and it gets bigger, a lot of times, hey, big brewery over here is like, we named a beer that 3 years ago. That was a seasonal release we did at our tap room, and we trademarked it. So no, absolutely not. Get to their attorney, fire off the cease and desist. A lot of it has to do with just trademark infringement, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like some of it's crazy. So when I worked for Big Top years ago, the address to the brewery in Sarasota was 6111 Porter Way. That was the actual name of the brewery. So kind of funny that a brewery is on a street named after a beer style. Kind of ironic. So they ran with it, right? So they actually created a beer called 6111 Porter. And weirdly enough, Dogfish Head brewed a beer a million years ago called 61 Minute IPA. They have 60-minute IPA. They brewed a 61 minute at some point as like a seasonal release. Had a little bit of extra hops in it, whatever. Instead of cease and desist to Big Top and said, "Nah, you can't name your beer that, even though it's not an IPA. It has nothing to do with how much time the hops were included into the boil. Like all these things that weren't even a factor. It's just the name is too similar. You can't do that." Got a letter, no problem. Changed the name up. So it happens. It happens a lot. And honestly, I think it's a badge of honor for most breweries. Like if you're to the point where you're brewing a beer and it's successful to where you get a bigger brewery or a bigger corporation send you a letter that says you can't do that, like that's cool. It's a little bit of a cool factor. So I say good for them. You know what?
Yeah.
They're being recognized.
You're not innovating unless you're ruffling some feathers. So I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But
I mean, especially like for a show as popular as like that as The Office, like for Corporate Ladder to receive a cease and desist, I'm pretty sure that was like kind of like a oh shit moment for them at first, but then now that it's been like redecorated and redone, I'm sure they're like, oh hell yeah, like the creators of The Office.
You know what though? Like they should like dive into that a little bit more, man. Like, and maybe they did. I didn't look around that much, but they should have a copy of that letter up on the wall with like some silly wordage around it, and they should kind of dive into it a little bit more. But it is what it is, man. It's all good. It doesn't really mean anything as long as you actually change whatever it is that they're asking you to change the verbiage in this or do this, do that, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah.
So, but it means your name's getting out there. So. Which is cool.
Yeah. Nick, have you actually ever heard of a manufacturer actually get a cease and desist letter for like making cards or something?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Dude.
Oh, really? I'm sure.
There's so many.
Because there's also trademarks involved.
Yeah, everybody trademarks this, that.
Yeah.
It's like Twitter becoming X and trademarking a friggin' letter. Like everything gets kind of crazy, right? And you've got all these cars, like Tesla. He wanted the Model 3 was supposed to be Model E. Ford already had the Mach-E trademark. Made sure Tesla couldn't create an electric car under that Model E name. Yeah. So stuff like that. That's just one I know off the top of my head because it was something we discussed recently at the dealership. But yeah, that happens all the time, man. I mean, you come up with these names that are so close or different part things. You never know what's copyrighted, trademarked. I mean, there's so much in the background, so many things that are being patented and stuff. It's
Mhm.
constant.
Interesting. Actually,
So, for instance,
talked.
Porsche got
Oh.
a CND by Peugeot
Hmm.
because the original 911 was dubbed the 901, and Peugeot had the 901 copyrighted. They had a trademark. I'm sorry, copyright's different form of patent. Anyway, within a few weeks of the unveil, they sent a cease and desist or a CND to Porsche, and what did they do? They took out the 0, added a 1, and became one of the most popular cars, if not most popular car around.
I'd say it's
Suck at Peugeot.
It's the longest running.
Yeah.
It's probably the longest running, or one of the longest running model lines
Mhm.
in existence. I mean, the only thing that's maybe run longer, maybe technically Corvette, Mustang. Some of them are up there.
Yeah.
Well, Corvette from 53, I want to say.
Corvettes have been
That
around longer than
trumps all the
Mustangs.
American ones that are still running.
Yeah.
But the Mustang would have been pretty close, I want to say.
64 and a half.
Yeah. So there's some old ones out there for sure. But yeah, the 911's got to be probably one of the oldest, consistent, built every year, like true to its purpose, not switching the type of vehicle it is like Dodge is doing with all the SUVs now and stuff. Like it is gotta be one of the longest running. Next to probably the Corvette.
Yeah. And it's like one of those attainable icons. You know, it's not a Lamborghini, it's not you know, a Bugatti, but
you're not getting an RS2 GT or a GT2 RS, but yes, a 911 somewhat attainable.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a turbo.
Somewhat.
You know,
somewhat.
I mean, as a realistic dream car, you know, it's probably a little less attainable, a little more expensive than a Corvette nowadays, if you spec it right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So, suck at Peugeot. Anyway, so really interesting thing about Tesla. Do you guys know all of the 4 models that they have? Well, the 4 models that are released outside of the Cybertruck right now. So they have the Model S, the Model 3, the Model X, and the Model Y.
Sexy.
Yeah,
that was why he wanted the E instead of the 3. Ford kicked to the curb. But now, if you look at the other 4 vehicles that are either in production elsewhere or in process, they spell out CARS. So his line spells out sexy cars.
Oh,
that includes his semi, the truck, or the semi, the Roadster.
Yeah.
Do they still make the Roadster?
They're going to.
No, that ended in 2010 or 11, but they're bringing it back.
Yeah.
They had a concept
they
2 or 3 years ago. They
need to, man. Like I heard some rumors about that, and like that was the original. Wasn't that the original Tesla? That was like the OG.
That was like a quarter mil, I think, back then.
Yeah, exactly. It was a modified Elise. So that's cool, man. I mean, shit, they need to bring it back. It's just the only sad part is it's going to be $100,000 plus probably. So
probably more than that. Probably more than that.
And electric. Yeah, there's that. That also sucks. Electric cars are stupid. Electric cars are stupid. Watchers, viewers. Sorry.
No, like I said, man. You guys got to drive one full tilt. It doesn't.
They're fast. They are fast.
And all the center of gravity is so low, it's impressive. But it's not the same. You don't get the same sensations as you do from a nice Rumble V8.
So I will say the couple days that I drove a Mach-E GT, like it was kind of cool when it was quick, but it was so quiet and just weird.
Just so
it was just weird. It was too numb to me. It just that's my best description. Numb. It's a great thing, A to B, quickly, even great technology, pretty comfortable, but just numb.
You know what? It is funny because when we were just up at Bradenton over the weekend, there was, we got up there just in time before the rain came in. I got to go to the stands while Eric and Greg were, doing the registration, lining their cars up and everything, and I was watching some of the races. There was a Tesla Model S Plaid that ran. I want to say he ran against a GTR. I didn't record that video, but for whatever reason, like, obviously it's roll racing, so they're both staging each other up to the trees, right? And then as soon as they hit the trees, they just go, right? So he was slow at the tree. The GTR got the jump on him, but as soon as that guy laid into the throttle, that thing, it was so quiet, but it just gone. Absolutely gone. Just walked the GTR. It was absolutely insane. I mean, those things are so fast. It's stupid.
Well, here's the
Making
thing,
no
though.
noise.
But here's the thing, though. They're so fast because the second that the throttle goes to 100%,
oh yeah,
it's instant
Yeah,
torque.
instant torque.
So it's
Yeah.
all torque.
All torque.
But eventually, at one point, like those Teslas, like they have a cap when it actually comes to them picking up speed so quickly. Because I know this is going to be a crazy speed because we're probably not going to get to that speed like at actually with any one of our cars anytime soon. But as soon as they hit like 150 miles an hour, they start to slow down like how quickly they pick up versus a vehicle that is a combustion motor that has a lot more power. It'll just continue to pick up speed as it normally is.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to remember the time. Like the fastest car of the day was a twin turbo R8, which that thing was awesome to watch too, and he hit like 178. I think that and that's obviously in a roll race too, but 178 and a quarter mile from a roll. The Tesla, he was over 150. Easily over 150, just on a roll. I mean, it might have been faster than that. I just can't remember the number.
The main components for top speed really is going to be aerodynamics and your transmission. I mean, that's going to be your transmission is going to be your main limiting factor, right? Not enough gears, not enough.
Well,
an infinite amount of gears, and enough space.
I don't even
just going faster.
I don't even think aerodynamics is huge factor under 150 miles an hour.
No,
like anything over that, absolutely. Like if you're not stuck to that track, and that's why a lot of like land speed cars and stuff, they don't have big spoilers. They don't have like a lot of weird shit with aero, and it's basically minimize your path through the air as much as possible in order to go faster.
Drag.
Yeah, but that is really up there, upper echelon speed, though. So, but
I'm not saying I've tested the Explorer, but I'm not saying I haven't. It gets.
You drove it to Mexico once? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It gets
good drive,
there,
right?
and I'm pretty sure the tune is speed limited removed. And that 10-speed transmission just wants to keep going.
Yeah.
But at some point, you're basically pushing a giant box through the air. So
it's a brick. It's a brick with four wheels.
Yeah.
And that's where the aerodynamics comes into play as a major drag force.
Yeah, for sure.
So talking about Mexico, so me and Mike had a fun time at Mexico on Friday night or Saturday night. It was.
Are you talking about the G35 boys?
Yeah. So there was like a
crew talking about Nissans again.
Yeah, so there was I really wish I would have recorded that footage. That would have been hysterical. But there was like a group
man.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 VQs. Like they were all 4-door G35s or G37s.
So there was a G35 sedan, black on black, with black wheels, and there was at least 3 people in the car. There was a lot of people in the car, and he was staged right next to Erick at a light in Mexico, obviously. But behind that, there was at least a G. I think it was a G35 and then a G37 behind that, like the coupes, and they were all lined up. Like these dudes were obviously going on their way to a takeover somewhere because it's Nissans at midnight on a Saturday. I mean, what else are they doing, honestly?
Exactly.
So, Erick, go ahead. Tell them how that transpired.
So I kind of noticed because like as soon as they lined up right next to me, I look over and like there's this weird kid like hanging out the back window, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like that was like my instant reaction.
That's your first sign.
It was because I was like I asked Mike, I was like, "What the hell? Like, why is this kid hanging out the window?" And he's like staring at my Corvette like the whole time because obviously I took the Corvette up to the track, but So I'm like, I look at Mike and I'm like, you know that like what they're gonna want to do because like the kid's like already revving the car, and I'm like, oh man, like whatever.
Yeah.
And Mike just looks like he's like,
Eric
well,
was like, this guy wants to race.
yeah, instantly. And then Mike just looks at me. He's like, well, you know what you got to do. So I was like, all right. So I had the car in first gear, like, and I I had my like the clutch release right to the engaging point. And then, but I didn't launch hard. I was like,
No.
whatever. Like
you
just
didn't
let me
launch.
see.
You didn't launch really at all.
Yeah, I didn't launch it at all. Like literally, I just like let go of the clutch and I tapped on the accelerator, and then you hear this thing, it like freaking trumpet, just bang. So as soon as I heard that, I literally just floored it, and I kind of stopped them in first gear, like right at the top of first gear. And a second that I slammed it, like into like second, just started running bosses on him. And just to add a little salt to that wound, because he was the one that initially launched, I turned on my hazards as soon as I was passing him. So they were like flashing the whole time I was like running, and I got it to like the top of like what, like mid fourth or top of fourth, and I just let off the gas. We had to like turn off.
It was just funny because it was just funny because like you didn't launch, right? You knew this guy wanted to race, but you're like, we'll let him like we'll tease him a little bit. So this guy is, and I think it was an auto. Like there was no way that thing was a 6-speed.
No, it was an auto.
So it was an automatic, and as soon as it turned green, this guy just laid into it with 3 people in a G35 sedan. Like you're not going anywhere that fast. Just screaming with his fart can exhaust, and then like as soon as Eric shifted it into second and it hooked and just gone. And I threw the peace signs up in the passenger seat, and he just like disappeared.
In Mexico at the right time to embarrass some kids with my third
It was so funny. It was so funny.
I just want to stage up next to one of these guys and give me the opportunity just to go into like my launch mode and just let them hear the turbo spool up.
Well, here's the thing though, is like I don't know if some individual driving a G35 would line up next to your SUV and be like, "Oh, I'm going to race this guy." Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
My new sticker says "because race car."
But like, I don't, dude. It looks like a cop car, man. I'm not going to lie to you.
I have
Carmelo,
rails. I have side rails, aka non-cop car.
Yes, but we already had an episode about Nissan drivers. Okay. I don't need to say anything more about it. But like, I get what you're saying though. Like, it would be really funny. It would be just really funny to smoke somebody in that thing. I really, this also was a very good exercise for me because I realized I really need to get a decently quick car again.
Yeah.
So, I'm slow. So this makes me sad.
So before we actually drove up to Bradenton, I made the joke to Mike that he's gonna see my driver mod. So you finally saw my driver mod.
No, it was good, man.
You experienced it.
You're good at moving that stick.
Thank you.
Back and forth.
I've had many years.
You like this mod?
Yeah. Although you're not very nice to your clutch, though, so we need to work on that.
Yeah, we know
okay.
That now.
Okay. So first off, I wasn't the one that ruined my clutch because you have to think my car is from 2006, and I just got it last September. So that car has been in this like with the same clutch since 2006. I found out that
but how many miles does it have?
Now it's got like 28.
Yeah, but when you bought it, it had like 20.
It had 18.
It was a brand new clutch.
No, it wasn't because the guys that worked at the dealership where I got my car from, apparently they were destroying that clutch. So that's why I need a new one. So thanks to local Subaru dealership around here and your sales guys, because your sales guys are shitty fucking stick shift drivers, and 2, you shouldn't let your sales guys drive stick shift cars.
Didn't I tell you about the time that I was there getting my wife's CX-9 serviced, and the guy like stalled the Z06 that they just took in on trade like 4 times, trying to move it from like 2 different spots. It's hilarious.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, really, dude?
But anyways,
practicing some WRXs. Like, go.
I even went out and asked the guy just to be an asshole. I was like, "Do you want me to move that for you? I mean, I might go around the block a few times, but I'll move it for you if you want me to."
Yeah. But anyways, I found out a couple of other things about my car, and the kid that I bought the car from, or was the previous owner, I ran into him. and found out some stuff about the car, and that thing's not been serviced very well. Like it had before I put my Firehawk Indies, it only had one change of tires in the entirety of from 2006 to 2022. So one set of tires that was changed. So it's had
Yeah,
two.
but
Now
also it only had 18,000 miles on it. Like that's.
I mean, but you have to
the
think
tires were dry rotting before you get down to the.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they were dry rotting, so you have to change them out at least. So you have to change them out at least 5 years at least. But and the car is 16 at this point, 16, 17 years old, so it should have be on its fourth set at least. So I need to change fluids because I don't trust the fluids on that thing. So the kid that had the car before me said that he changed one or two of the fluids, but I'm just gonna change all of them. So, but anyways, this is besides the point. But yeah, Mexico was fun on Friday, and so was Bradenton. But
it was, man.
Yeah. So on to next topic here. But before we jump into that, I do want to do a beverage recap real quick. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. So the sour me unicorn farts, it was very interesting. It tasted like a typical sour. It was very fruity. You can taste like the fruity cereal. Nick, you were right. You can see like the edible glitter in there. It was just like they were like silver or goldish, so like you really couldn't see it until I actually got the cup and started drinking. I'm like, oh, there they are. But it wasn't bad. Would I drink it again? Probably. I could probably do without the edible glitter, but whatever. I'm actually now drinking I'm actually now drinking the chocolate volcano. Yeah. It's actually not bad. It's pretty good. The chocolate, it is there, like in your face. It kind of tastes like dark chocolate. I like it. It tastes really good. The Heavy Seas beer definitely caught me by surprise with how good this beer is. I have to check and see if we have any more of this stuff here locally.
I want to know if Carmelo is thinking the same thing that I'm thinking.
You missed my face. I was the only one that made a face, and I'm like, oh, I gotta be somewhat professional here.
You're drinking a chocolate volcano. So I was gonna say, as long as you don't witness a chocolate volcano while you're also seeing edible glitter, because those would not.
I was gonna say, imagine his chocolate volcano while it sparkles.
It was dark chocolate that
Those would not. Those would not mix. Sorry, Eric.
Eric's getting his stomach overnight and have the activities tomorrow.
You guys are ridiculous. Anyways, Heavy Seas beer, recommend. They're really good. On to the next person, Mike. How are your drinks?
The bourbon was awesome, just like last time. So the Calusa, Florida flavor lager. I will say that I love the fact that it says no vacancy, which is pretty cool because Florida's full. Sorry. Yeah. I will say that I did not know this. This is a collaboration with apparently a local company in Sarasota that does like lifestyle apparel. It's a lager brewed with Mosaic, Centennial, and Sapphire. Because I will say it's a pretty hoppy lager. It's for people that are not familiar with hoppy lagers, it's kind of like a step down from an IPA. It's not overly bitter, but you get a lot of the bitterness and a lot of the citrus notes from the hops that are in it. It's actually really good. I like this. I got a 4-pack, and this is not the first time I've had it, but definitely recommend if you're up in the Sarasota area.
I was going to ask what the Florida flavor was, man. All I can imagine is like salt water and alligator coochie.
Well, flamingo coochie, man.
Hold on. Do you guys remember?
Flamingo.
Yeah. Mike is gonna remember this one because I think you tried. I think you tried it. Do you remember that one brewery that used to be off of 41 that was right across the airport and they closed down?
Don't even say the name. Yes, don't even.
Oh,
don't even do it. Don't even do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Like dirty dishwater.
Salty Walter.
Yes, the Salty Walter.
So YouTube viewers, Spotify, whatever, go
Listen-
online
listeners.
and just throw a search in Google and see what a salty Walter is, and then imagine a beer that was called that. And imagine drinking a beer that was called Salty Walter, and then just let your imagination kind of do the work for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. So thanks for bringing that up, Eric.
You're welcome.
I was
Anytime.
really hoping to just forget about that beer and never bring it up ever again.
That's what I'm here for, and I'll remind you about it in a few years.
Thanks, buddy. So on Oktoberfest, I just took a couple sips of it. It's good. So the Carmelo's on Google right now.
Like,
I'm doing the same thing.
what would you?
All right. So the story was they had an uncle who was a really grumpy guy, so they called him Salty Walter
Wait,
because his name was Walter. Well, little did they know when you go on the internet and you type things in, it usually tells you whatever it is that you're looking for. Well, I don't think they did that before they named the beer. And the sad part is, what you're reading as the description of that is exactly how that beer tasted. It was like you took a beer on a boat, and then the boat capsized, and then half of the ocean went into the can or bottle, and then that's what you're drinking. That's what it tasted like. It wasn't good.
there is such a thing as too much thickness. I'm just going to throw it out there. And I think that's what you experienced with the salty water.
Yeah, it was not the right kind of thick. I'll just say that. The Three Daughters Oktoberfest Marzen Lager, though, however, is very good. I will say this is a little light when you compare it to like an authentic German Marzen Lager. This is definitely. I mean, I wish I had a glass to pour it in. You know what? Let's do an experiment right here. So it's pretty light in color. It is that kind of nice like amber color-esque to it, but like it just tastes light. It's very good flavor. It's not overly sweet. A lot of Marzen lagers usually have a little bit of sweetness to them, just because of the malt that's in it. It's very low hop quality, or not quality, but hop presence. So it's not bad. I'd recommend it. It's a pretty popular item right now as far as beers that are readily available in the state of Florida. So pretty good. All right,
Three
Carmelo.
Sisters, Salty Walter.
Three Sisters.
Uh-huh.
No. All right.
Well, that's
Carmelo.
All right, I'm going to take this.
We're gonna move on.
The beers. All right, so the Drecker, Everybody Loves Everybody. It's good. Brewing project. Like I've shared my story with them in the past. This was a little different. It was tart, but not necessarily in the way sours are. You could definitely taste the lemon and lime in this. Some of the flavoring in there is lemon, lime, orange, cherry, raspberry, guava, lactose, and vanilla bean. You could definitely taste the citrus tartness, which is not typical in a typical sour. Still pretty good. Just little, not exactly what I was expecting. Not as thick, not salty water thick, but not as thick as the brewing projects beers typically are. Moving on to the smooge. Just happy I said that, not something else. Really good. The seltzer smoothie, still an interesting concept to me. I like seltzers, I like smoothies, but together, like a carbonated smoothie just doesn't sound appealing. But it is. Strawberry banana kind of is what it says it is. Dairy free, that matters to you. Overall, I'm enjoying them. About halfway done with the smooch. So, Nick, what do you got?
Just listening to you say smooge and just
Smooge.
wanting you to mispronounce it so badly.
Listen, I'm just proud I didn't
So
say
badly.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
This
Don't do it. Don't
splooge
do
is
it.
delicious.
Oh my god.
But anyway, so my Southern Tier
No, no.
pumpkin, long gone. Just delicious as always, especially coming out of a keg. It's always nice when you have a keg in your kitchen.
You're welcome. We're already out. Congratulations.
Oh
I'm
wow.
pretty sure I
Getting
got
a
one of the
keg.
last kegs on that one. And then the little Hornitos and Cointreau sour mix, or like just non-sour mix margarita. It's going just fine. Nice tart, nice and sour, no sweetness, no extra sugar, none of that BS. Yeah. Like I said, I went simple tonight, kind of lazy, but solid.
Nice.
So what number margarita is that for you tonight?
That's the first. But I think there was at least 2 pumpkins prior to the one I drank just now, plus that.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, it was
Heck
pretty.
yeah.
It's been like since like 7 p.m. It was a pretty quick build up.
Nice. Is that the time that you got home? 7 p.m.
No, I got home. We got home around 4:30ish, 4:30ish.
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
After getting the kids
It's not
and the
bad.
dogs and all that.
No.
No, it's not too bad. We left the area around 12:30.
Nice. All right. So I did want to talk about something that was very interesting. I know that me and Carmelo are usually the ones that watch this, but the Formula One race that happened this weekend. So it was
The man.
very, very weird. So the race was at Singapore this past weekend, and something happened that a few people, I'm sure a lot of the Formula One fans actually were anticipating to see, which is Max Verstappen not being on pole, or actually being in the top 3. So he
never leading a lap.
Yeah, he never led a lap, which is very, very weird, like this season. But apparently, or not apparently, it actually did happen, but he actually got disqualified in Q2. So him and Checo, or Sergio Perez, got disqualified in Q2. So if for all the viewers and listeners, Formula One has 3 qualifying rounds, and they got eliminated in Q2 by Liam Lawson, which was in the top 10. And Liam Lawson is actually substituting for Daniel Ricciardo from being injured for breaking his wrist a month ago. And this kid is killing it. Like 3 races in, he actually gave he ended in what, P7? 3 races in? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, he got 3 or 4 points. I mean,
yeah.
Think about that. He's the alternate to the alternate, because you had Nick DeVries,
Yeah.
right? And then you had Daniel Ricciardo.
Yep.
Then Erick. And now you have Liam, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
No, for, DeVries, he had that race that he filled in for, I believe it was Lewis Hamilton.
Mhm.
And I think he got like 7th or 8th. But that was in a tier 1 car. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
one of the best cars there. I mean, the AlphaTauri isn't arguably, it is the worst car. I mean, I don't know now, with the points, but for the longest time, they didn't have any points on the board.
Mhm.
So he was driving in one of the worst cars and did the best for all of Red Bull. Granted, Yuki had an engine problem driving to the start, but still, even in 8th place, hypothetically, if Yuki would have beat him, and that's arguable. But I got to say, kind of leading the race, if you don't mind, Eric, it was a great race. I've been a Carlos Sainz fan since he was at Renault, and then him and Lando, the Carlando crew. But I loved them at McLaren. Bought this hat a year ago at Scuderia Ferrari. Nothing against Leclerc, but the race was phenomenal. He knew that after the pit, he had to be in front of Max. Did everything he could to keep him in front. Controlled that race from lap 1. It was outstanding. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think overall, he, as a driver, his awareness and his abilities have been underestimated. Because just hearing in the F1 app, you could hear him talk with his crew, and Lando is 1.8 seconds behind, or 1.5 seconds. The Mercedes, they're catching him, they're 3 seconds behind him. Okay, I know what I got to do. And then in the beginning, he was like, "Oh, our fronts are starting to go a little bit of understeer." making excuses so that he could get Lando to him. And then he pulled Lando to the end, which was smart. I think by lap 60, what was it, 67? Or no, I'm sorry, 57?
No, 62 laps.
Lando
so yeah,
must
lap
have
57.
realized. Yeah, 57, 58, where he let Lando catch up. At that point, I think Lando realized, like, hey, he's letting me stay in DRS when he was clearly long gone more than at 2 different times on the same lap.
Yeah, so let me interrupt real quick. So for the viewers and listeners that don't watch Formula One, so in order to be in the DRS zone, or in the DRS zone, in order for you to enable DRS, you have to be within a second from the leading car. So Carlos Sainz was purposely staying less than a second in front of Lando Norris. So he was purposely driving slow in order to pretty much carry his competitor so that he can win the race. That is probably by far one of the most clutch things you can freaking do. Like, to pretty much drive slow so that your opponent can drive faster so that you can win the race. So, anyways, sorry to interrupt. I had to add that note on there because I'm sure some people don't watch Formula One or view Formula One,
Absolutely.
so I had to add that note on there.
Yeah, and keeping Lando, the car in front of you, you have to be less than a second from the car in front. It was brilliant, and he was helping Lando. They've been friends for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos was a mentor to Lando when they were at McLaren together, and they're still clearly friends. But it was smart because once he backed Lando up to the Mercedes, Hamilton and Russell started fighting each other.
Yeah.
And then you could hear Hamilton on the radio like, oh, he needs to hurry up. He needs to get around this McLaren.
Mm-hmm.
And just that little bit of panic secured first place for Carlos.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this is his second time winning a race, the second time winning a race. So he can't be as calculated as Checo, who's been around, I think Checo's been in F1 like 12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
Or, he doesn't have the awareness, or no one anticipates he has the same awareness as Max or Lewis, because he just doesn't have the same experiences in the front of the pack.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he executed it, and, he's going to be a detriment to when Ferrari loses. I also think that Leclerc can learn from him because Carlos has made statements, and we were talking about this pre-recording, that Carlos has made statements that, Ferrari doesn't have the best strategies. They don't make the best calls at the moment.
No.
And he never overly ridicules them, but he is brutally honest. So in his mind, he's done the studying. He said, I'm going to call the shots. I'm going to get this to happen. And then last week he was second place.
Yeah, he was pretty much his own strategist for the last couple of races. But yeah, Carlos Sainz, he carried that freaking race for Ferrari the whole way. One of the drivers made the joke of, which is actually Russell, and go figure, he was a little overzealous, and then he crashed himself out of the race. So, I mean, don't be over cocky, bro.
Yeah. Russell has a history of that, though.
Yeah,
Russell did that to Bottas years ago when he was in the Williams, and he ended up hitting. He got too excited. He hit the right front, hit the wall. And I don't know if he bent or broke a tie rod. He went to turn and locked up, and
something happened with the car. He broke some suspension components. Anyways,
from the cocky British man.
But congratulations to Carlos for actually being the Red Bull killer, I guess you can say. The prancing horse actually killed the bull this race. But yeah, he did a phenomenal job driving. So moving on, Mike, you actually wanted to talk about the Porsche Carrera race. I wasn't able to actually watch it this weekend, but you said it was a pretty exciting race, right?
So I watched pieces of it. The whole reason I came up, I found this is I was on the IMSA website looking at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It had some racing going on yesterday on Sunday, and couple different events happening. The Porsche Carrera Cup happened kind of earlier in the day. It was, I think, 10:30, 9:30 in the morning, something like that. It started. For anybody that watches kind of some of the IMSA circuits, like they do a lot of Cup series. The Porsche Cup's kind of cool because it's a very it's a large grid. You've got excuse me, you got like 25 cars running, but power band is all the same. It's the same car. It's literally down a driver. It's just
It's series. Yeah.
there's not a lot of different engine components going on. Like, it's all the same car, it's the same vehicle, it's the same suspension, it's everything. It's just all down to the driver. So watched a little bit of it. We had some other things going on Sunday, but I was watching it for a while. I will say a couple of the outstanding things about it was, right out of the gate into turn one at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, there was like a pile up in first corner. And it's just, whenever that happens as a racing fan, it's exciting, oh my God, there's cars crashing, whatever. But it's also, it's like, man, now they're going to have to bring the pace car out. Then they're going to have to do a nice couple of laps while they clean everything up. Well, they did that, and then another wreck happened, and then another wreck happened, and then another wreck happened. And it just seems like, in fact, anybody that watched that race that's watching this right now, I can't remember what lap it was or how far into the race, but there was actually a collision between two cars on a parade, on a not a parade lap, but a pace lap, following the pace car. So they were going down the straight, and you guys have seen races, right, where all the cars are kind of like keeping their tires warm, so everybody's swerving, right? On one of the pace laps, two of the cars clipped, like as they're doing their swerves to keep the tires hot. And it was just like, what? Like, they're cleaning up another wreck, and now there's another wreck on the main straightaway where they got to piece these cars together. But
sloppy.
Oh my God, it was so sloppy. And I get it. Like, as a driver, you're in this car, you're strapped in, your helmet's on, like you're ready to go. You got adrenaline going. You're trying to like maintain temp at the tires. You're ready to get after it. But like, if you're not paying attention, stupid shit like that happens, and you're going to clip the fender. So he clipped the bumper of another car. Well, it did enough damage to the rear end and the exhaust that car ended up having to pit, and like it actually cost time, and I'm sure he got a penalty for it. But the main thing was, like, in the pro, I think it was pro-am and amateur that was in the race. In the pro series, driver's name was Dickinson, but it was the number 53 car. He held first place the entire race. Like, in every lap, he was just nailing all the apexes. Like, he was setting the lap records. Like, it was really interesting, because it just goes to show, and it's kind of like, I'm not a race car driver. I've driven in video games, and that's all I really know. But like, if you're out in front and you've got legs and you've got the space, like, he just kept going and then every single lap he would gain 20 seconds. Next lap, 30 seconds. Next lap, another 25 seconds. And he just kept growing that gap, and no one ever caught him. The whole race, he was out in first place. And so he ended up taking the trophy on it, and the podium. It was pretty cool. It was fun to watch. I wish I would have caught the other IMSA race that was on Sunday, but I didn't. Unfortunately, I had it on my mind. We got busy doing other stuff, and I just didn't watch it. So
yeah, I feel like this weekend itself was just pretty exciting for like motorsports, because like, obviously, you were watching like the Porsche Cup race. There was an IMSA race going on. We talked about Formula One. Actually, Formula D was kind of going on, which actually you and I, Mike, we kind of saw a little bit of it while we were at Corporate Ladder, and then while we were driving up to Bradenton. But actually, talking about Formula D, Chelsea Denofa actually ended up winning this past weekend, which is exciting. He's probably by far one of my favorite drivers in the playing fields. Him and James Dean, they're both in Team RTR. James Dean is a beast of a driver. He got knocked out in top 32, I think. But Chelsea Denofa carried Team RTR all the way through, even getting literally just T-boned in like the last couple of runs by Matt Fields. So they had to
and we watched that clip. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, so he was able to get a 10-minute allotment for to be able to fix the car, which is kind of crazy to think that you have 10 minutes to fix a car. But a little bit of background about pretty much just like top tier Formula Drift cars. Their suspension components, as complex as they are, they're literally like just 4 or 5 arms, and they're pretty much like if you get into an accident, everything has already been pre-measured. So all you have to do is just pull everything off as quickly as possible, or unbolt and remove as quickly as possible, and then rebolt everything back in. Align the car, make sure that that your specs are correct, and then just send it back on track. So Team RTR, they actually go ahead.
So when he got hit, I know he got hit on the driver's side, obviously, because the way that they were drifting, right? But didn't they hit like basically mid car? So it was the door and it was the rear clip, right?
Yeah. Well,
so
it was mostly the rear quarter panel. It was mostly rear quarter.
So as long as they can get the door to shut and they can, make sure that all that the rear driver's side suspension components are all in place, the drive shaft didn't get dislodged or anything, then it was that was a pretty good hit though, because it slid him right off the track too. So
and the crazy thing is that he kept going. That's Chelsea D'Onofrio. Like as soon as he got hit, he's like, screw it, I'm just gonna finish it, and he just kept going. While he was going, he was just burning off the tires because honestly, like he's like that's Chelsea. But the crazy thing is that so they were at Utah, and then they actually ran Utah the year before. So because last year was the first year that they were running Utah, it was pretty much just a okay, let's see who can initiate the fastest, into the first corner. So Chelsea actually got to hit like 110, 111 miles an hour on that first entry, and like it's crazy.
Well, and I know we're running short on time here, but like I'm not as much of a drift fan as you guys as you are. I know Carmelo and Nick are probably on the same page as I am. Like obviously I'll watch it; it's awesome, but I don't follow it as much as you. Like just watching that track, like the speed at entry to where they were like it wasn't technical, but like it seems like they were going really fast. Like the couple of turns that they had in the course that they were running were very high speed. So I think it was more, it's all about the speed and the entry angle, and a lot of those guys put on a crazy smoke show.
Yeah, well, the Formula D cars, I mean, with today's day and age of like drift cars, like those cars, they're built to actually catch traction, which is kind of weird to talk like to say, like, because they're drift cars, because they're supposed to break traction in the rear end and maintain the drift. But those cars are set up where whatever wheel specs they have, a lot of them are actually the ride height is higher than factory, and the reason for that is for strut compression, for strut and spring compression. So pretty much, the more the car is able to squat, they'll add positive camber to the car, so that whenever they are fully squatted, it pulls the tires to as much as 0 degree of camber as possible, so they maintain traction and they're able to carry as much speed as possible. That's where the wheel speed comes into play. That's where tire smoke comes into play. But anyways, that's it. It was pretty exciting. Chelsea is, like I said, I've mentioned it before, and I'll say it again, by far my favorite drifter. Does not care. He's one of those full send guys. And Mike, you kind of saw where he initiated into the first corner and front left tire completely off the ground. It wasn't even touching like the tarmac. It was literally just free spinning in the air. That's how the RTR cars are built. But yeah, congratulations to him. It's the second win of the season. So he actually, I'm hoping next round is in Irwindale. So he actually might be taking the trophy for actually his first podium for the season. So I'm kind of hoping that he wins it, because he's a phenomenal driver.
Nice.
But anyways, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I know that we're just kind of just ranting and just having just fun shenanigans here with the boys. Remember to savor your brews and hit the road responsibly. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, and cheers to booze and cars.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.